Within every single human being is an immense capacity for evil and also an immense capacity for good. And I believe that it is this understanding and this integration of both of those capacities that allows us to do what is good, that allows us to be righteous, that allows us to fulfill the will of God. The first thing I want to explain to you is the story of the Israelites. The Israelites have gone from slavery, which was a bad place, of course. They were under tyranny, they were forced to do hard labor, they weren't given much, although those were hard times, and even people who were, so-called paid for their labor didn't have very much, but it was still slavery nonetheless. They went from slavery to the desert. They were promised the promised land. However, in order to go from a certain place to a place that's higher, you must first go to a place that's lower. And that's the desert. And we can go to the desert in two main ways. We can go there voluntarily, as in we're trying to go to a better place, or we can go there involuntarily, as in we've been ignoring things and they finally collapsed on us and we've gone to the desert, or just one major event has slapped us in the face, like the loss of a family member, the loss of your job, whatever it may be. We can go to the desert voluntarily and involuntarily. And while we're in that desert, we should remain faithful to God. We should remain hopeful in that things are going to get better. Because if we are truly seeking after God, then I believe that things are going to get better. However, if while we are in this desert, we mess up, we lose hope in God, we lose faith in the future, we think that things aren't going to get better, we shake our fist at God. When we do that, we are making the bad situation that we're in, the desert, worse. We're making the desert drier. We're making the bad situation that we're already in worse than it needed to be. And you can do this whenever you're in a good place in your life. You can also do it whenever you're in a bad place in your life. That responsibility has been given to us. Every single individual has been made in the image of God. And what that means is that the Spirit of God is within us. We aren't the Spirit itself, but that Spirit works within us. And when we integrate that Spirit properly, the spirits of God, so the Spirit of the Logos, of the transformative word, the Spirit of love, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of wisdom, the Spirit of knowledge, all of these things, these are characteristics of God. And all of those characteristics are within us. That's our capacity for good. But again, I said earlier that we have a capacity for evil. So you could say the spirits of Satan are also within us. Now, we're not made in the image of Satan. That's not laid out in the biblical text. But we can certainly be possessed by the spirits of Satan. The spirit of unrighteous anger, of lust, of adultery, of greed. All of these things can inhabit us and they can take over us. It's our choice if they do that or not. So we've been made in the image of God. We've been given the spirit of the Logos. That spirit's within us. We have the ability to speak the transformative words, just like how God spoke the transformative words at the beginning of time in order to create the order that's good, in order to make the universe that we currently inhabit. He spoke the Logos, the word, into existence, and he used the Logos to make the habitable order that's good. That's what God did, and we've been given that ability. We can do something like that, but we can also do, you could say, the opposite of that, which is speak the chaos or the hell into existence. That isn't good. We could speak the destructive word. And so in some real sense, the world has been placed on our shoulders. Or one can say, the cross has been placed on our shoulders. The question is, are you going to, so-called carry your cross downhill towards hell, or are you going to carry your cross uphill towards heaven. No matter what, there's no getting out of. You have the ability to transform the world. There's no getting out of that. You can either transform it for better or for worse. And you do that with every single thing that you say and all the actions that you do, but particularly with what you say. You transform the world. You need to be very careful about where you step and very careful about what you say. And I'm not saying I do this perfectly, but we all, human beings, need to be very careful with what we do, because one little bitty mistake can make a bad situation worse, or a good situation worse. It can make any situation worse. And if you speak carefully enough, you choose the right words, you choose the right actions, you step forward with caution, then you can transform the world for good. And if you're the type of person that transforms the world for good, and people can see that, and they're the type of people that want the world to be transformed for good, and they're the people that would like to do that themselves and are doing that themselves, then you found someone else that you can partner up with, that you can learn with, that can be your friend, that can help you along this journey, the journey uphill. And that's one of the best things that a person can find, is another person that genuinely wants to change the world for better. And I think an idea portrayed in the Gospels very often is the idea that if you want to transform the world, you should start with yourself, because you are a part of the world. And so if you improve, then so does the world. And the world improves even more so if you improve and then teach others how to make that same improvement or make a similar improvement. And that's what we've been called upon to do. We've firstly been called upon to hoist our own cross, to walk uphill ourselves, to act ourselves first, and then to teach others to do likewise. If you do the reverse of that, if you don't transform yourself, but rather judge others, telling them what to do, firstly, your judgments might be incorrect and likely will be incorrect because you probably don't know what you're talking about. You haven't done it yourself, or at least you can't speak from personal experience. And you're going to be seen as a fool, and no one's going to want to hang around you because all you do is judge people. However, if other people can see that you've genuinely transformed yourself, you can imagine that you would have many people coming up to you asking you for advice, asking you to judge them, so to speak, to tell them what they should be doing. There are people who want to transform the world. And if you want to help them, you can start by fixing yourself up, by cleaning your own room before you try and clean the world. This is the responsibility that's been put on every single human being, to follow Christ through the desert, to remain faithful, to transform the world for good, and to not become bitter and resentful and aim downward and make any situation, especially a bad situation, worse.